Excuse me, officer. Can you direct me to Paddington Station?
Yes, sir. Straight across the green, turn left over the iron bridge and you're there.
Thank you very much.
The Royal Oak is the third most popular UK pub name. King Charles I had been executed in 1649. He was the father of Prince Charles, the future King Charles II. At the Battle of Worcester in 1651, Prince Charles was defeated and had to flee the Roundheads. He sought refuge in the form of a great oak tree near Boscobel House, climbing the tree to avoid being spotted by Cromwell's troops. After the restoration of the monarchy in 1660, many pubs started to call themselves the Royal Oak.
Right, behind me is the Porchester pub, which used to be the Royal Oak, and it's not the start of today's walk because we're going to start at the station, but interestingly the Royal Oak was renamed the Porchester, and that would have been a much better name for the area than the Royal Oak is, because Porchester's on everything, on buildings, on road names and on pub names. Okay, I think we better get going.
I'm walking between every station on the London Underground. And as I do these hundreds of walks, you get to see the roads between the stations, and I get a lot of exercise. I also get to show some old maps of each area, like this one coming up later. I'm a bit of a mapophile, and I'm also a bit hungry. Indian restaurant, fully licensed. No, I'll give that a miss. And we'll also do some historical images along the way, since I'm also a bit of a fan of old London photos. This particular walk is the final and quite straightforward walk along the route of the Hammersmith and City line before all hell breaks loose as we reach central London. Selbridge Mews, Cowbridge News. To start us off on the old photos, here's the Royal Oak pub dating from the 1890s, when it was part of the Finch Empire. This next photo dates from the 6th of August 1857 and shows guests at the wedding at Westbourne Lodge, which was west along the Harrow Road from the site of Royal Oak Station. And it was the wedding of Florence Augusta Saunders. She was the daughter of Charles Saunders, the first General Secretary of the Great Western Railway. Now Isambard Kingdom Brunel was amongst the guests, and during this gathering both Brunel and Saunders watched trains running beside the wedding party, along the railway which they had built. And this is the Porchester Hall Public Library, which is a really great piece of civic architecture. Now it's simply called the Paddington Library, but the building originally included swimming pools, Turkish baths, assembly halls and the still extant public library. It was built in 2 phases between 1923 and 1929. This is the northern end of Queensway, but it's not the Queensway that we know and love. At the last minute, as it runs north from the Bayswater Road, it takes a sharp right turn to reach this junction. Pizza a go-go. And the sharp right turn in question is at that modern building at the end there. 2 original streets called Pickering Place and Westbourne Park Terrace were subsumed into the Queensway name, which is why the route of Queensway is not quite logical here. Over there's some simply glorious tops of buildings, which are shops below. Wonderful. The problem with us all, me included, is that we're often focused straight ahead, like this, just looking at the immediate environment, and we miss a lot of good stuff. I'm still hungry.
We're going to start the day with fish and chips, and then I promise, we'll get round to going for the walk. As we return to the site of the original Royal Oak pub, it would be interesting to take a look at how this area developed and became a suburb of London. Having started at Royal Oak Station, I walked down Porchester Road to the original site of the Royal Oak pub. Then it's a very simple walk ahead, along Bishop's Bridge Road, and for mysterious reasons only known to myself, down the taxi exit into Paddington Station. The Royal Oak pub is marked with a purple star. Let's go back to the Stanford map dating from the 1860s, keeping the purple star where it is. If you look along the road north, Porchester Road, back towards the site of Royal Oak Station, the station doesn't yet exist. It opened in 1871. Also Porchester Road was then called Selbridge Place. Our Victorian forebears loved changing their road names. Meanwhile, Bishop's Bridge Road is simply called Bishop's Road. The Royal Oak pub is still marked with a purple star, but we now go back to the Greenwood map dating from the turn of the 1830s. The future Porchester Road runs north to a toll booth on the Harrow Road. The future Queensway running south from the pub is called by its original name Blackman Lane. Most of the street name label is off of the map. The road was renamed later in honour of Queen Victoria. Bishop's Bridge Road was called Bishop's Walk. It was a rural path allowing people on the Harrow Road to cut across the fields to the Royal Oak. By the 1830s, the Paddington Basin part of the Grand Union Canal had been dug. Bishop's Walk needed a bridge over the new canal, and this was called Bishop's Bridge. We can go even further back to a map dated 1800. The canal hasn't arrived yet and the whole area is very rural. From north to south the River Westbourne is shown on the map. The Red Lion on the Harrow Road is a riverside pub. The river flows underneath Bishop's Walk on its way to Hyde Park. Let's bring the scene back up to date.
Okay, so this will take us all the way to Paddington Station. It's turned rather sunny, which is a problem when you're walking in an easterly direction in the afternoon, because you cast a shadow. Look, there I am. I try to keep me out of shot. So we just passed Gloucester Terrace, and this is Westbourne Terrace. Then it's Eastbourne Terrace, and then Paddington Station appears miraculously on our right. Westbourne Terrace ultimately lead back up to Harrow Road on the westway and the tracks of the Hammersmith and City line. That's crossing Ferrari as was. I mentioned in another video that I used to work in that building. I worked for London Underground when I was in my 20s. And despite getting my free travel pass, which is something I really miss, because you leave London Underground, London Transport, London Regional Transport, Transport for London, what it became, and you lose all your privileges. 1/3 off British Rail fares and all sorts of stuff.
Yes, I think I'm happy trying to.
Because there's a pavement here, and there is, but better on the other side of the road, we'll be able to descend into the station across the road so I can see the oncoming traffic. Actually, that was a mistake. I need to be this side. Otherwise I'll get run over. I'll get run over at any pesky taxis. Yeah, there's a lot of taxi goings on. Yeah, somewhere down here was the side entrance into this disused car park that nobody knew about. We parked there for free all day. Because it was great having the London Transport Pass, which gets you on free transport all over London. However, sometimes you're just too lazy to get the public transport and would bring the car in. My Maestro, green Maestro. And I parked in this area, which is a bit different from when my Maestro would be parked just on a piece of gravel just over there. So, Bouffachonge. Well, actually not Bouffachonge, because that means things just stay the same. This hasn't stayed the same. This is the Paddington Basin area, just a bit later on, which is completely new. But you know what? I think I can define this as arriving at Paddington. Look, it's London Underground signs and everything. And Hammersmith City, which is where we were aiming for, or we were following anyway. So that's quite apt. Okay, welcome to Paddington. And thanks for sticking with me while I did a reminisce-a-thon just there. I will join you another time.